Welcome back on our third episode of Surviving AP Seminar with Cassie,
Sophie,
and Jaden.
and today we're going to be going over the IWA and the IMP. So the IWA stands for the Individual Written Argument. And what was our process for that? What did you guys think?
well, first off, Ms. Romberg gives us a full packet with how many sources? 7?
Yeah.
7 sources, and we have to read about 7, somewhere around there, and we have to read through them and pick at least 2 to include in our IWA.
2.
Okay.
Yeah. We have to pick 2 that correlate to... They're all under like the same umbrella, but we have to pick 2 that we can use in whatever argument we want. And it doesn't exactly have to be on topic.
And also though, she'll give you obviously 7 different sources, and you basically have to find the topic for yourself, what they're talking about, because they're all going to be different, but they're all going to be relating to one thing. So then in the end, you basically just find your own topic and how you want to go about that.
Yes, absolutely agreed. So with the IWA, you want to really have a drafting process. I'm the type of person, I write it and then I revise it as I go. But it's really recommended that Ms. Romberg really recommends that you have an outline before you go. Intro, 3 topics you can touch on, 3 paragraphs of those topics, counterclaims in each of those ones, and then maybe a conclusion or a solution if your question proposes it. I think what really helps shape your outline in your draft is your question.
Yeah, and it's also very important to not have the same question as everyone else, because you're getting this packet that everyone else is getting, and there's a lot of people in these classes. And so what will make yours stand out more to College Board, and Ms. Romberg will tell you this throughout the time, is picking a topic that is distinctive to the other ones.
Yes. Anyways, it's also very important to make sure that you have your annotated bibliography. Your annotated bibliography. What she said. And you just want to make sure that you're very well neat and organized, because with this 2,000 word essay,
No joke,
you will get disorganized. The opposite of organized, if you know what I mean. So it's very important to have that. I also will say though, just make sure you strive as much evidence as you can, because again, you will be taking at least 2 pieces, at most 2 pieces of evidence from the stimulus material that Ms. Romberg will give you. But meaning after that, you can find how many more sources that help your claim.
10 to 12 sources.
Yes.
Including
Right.
the one that
I
you're
will say, if I were you, I would strive a little bit more evidence than that, because
sources are so important.
with this 2,000 word essay, dang well you're not going to be writing all 2,000 words. So it's also very important if you find, obviously information that will help your topic and explain it, but make sure it's a good amount of work.
Yeah, and also make sure when you are putting your evidence in, you aren't just totally copy and pasting from the sources. You are actually putting it into your own words, because that will help
afterwards
when you run it through. What is it called?
Turnitin, which
AI.
is a similarity check. At the end of your IWA, you want to turn it into College Board. Not actually for final, but just for your similarity percentage.
And this happens for all of the ones too,
Yes.
your IRR as well.
Yes, and Ms. Romberg will walk you guys through this, and basically it just shows your similarity. And what that is, essentially, is how similar your own words are to other documents. If you have a low similarity rate, that means that you didn't use that much quotes or evidence. But if you have a high one, then that means that you use too much evidence and too much quotes, and you didn't put enough of commentary in it. Also, going back to what Jana was talking about with the sources, basically it's important to have above 12 sources. It's better to have more than to have less, because that could be a real problem if you don't have enough sources. And you want good sources too, top tier sources, academic books, college essays, all that kind of fun stuff.
Okay, so the next one.
Individual media presentation.
Okay, so the next thing that you have to do after you are done with the IWA is your IMP, your individual
multimedia presentation.
And basically, what you have to keep in mind is that you don't have a team this time. You're by yourself. So that means you have to do even more work and put even more work into it and manage your time even better than before.
Exactly.
Because you don't have other people to lean on, right?
I would also say that for the IMP, it's also important. Basically what you're doing is you're just funneling your IWA into a visual format and just explaining to the class in a way as if you're explaining to a 4th grader, as if they've never heard of this topic before. and just making sure it's visually interesting. You get points for that. Audibly interesting, make sure you're interacting with the crowd. And just basically the same steps that you're doing for your TMP, just for your IMP, and just like 10 times more serious.
Yes.
Jaden?
I fear you guys said everything that needs to be said. I totally agree.
Make sure it is visually appealing. That extra
Yes.
step will cost you. Not
Points.
cost you. Yeah.
It'll cost you points.
No, that's saying it will cost you points. Like it will take
Oh,
away points.
if you don't
it
do
will
it, it'll cost
gain you points.
Yes, it just don't find like a template on PowerPoint docs and make it pretty. Don't like just
Anyways, thanks for tuning in on episode. There was a B.
Okay, to conclude, the IWA and the IMP are two very important essays. They do make up a record percentage, but honestly, if I'm being honest, all of this has a low percentage compared to the EOC that we'll talk about next episode. But thank you for watching.
Thanks for tuning in on episode 3 of How to Survive AP Seminar. A big thanks from
Cassie, Sophie,
and Jaden. We give you 5 big boom. Boom.